September 2nd, 2025. Congress is back in session today after a month-long August recess, and lawmakers are returning to Washington with a packed and contentious agenda. Topping the list of priorities is the urgent need to fund the government. The current fiscal year ends on September 30th, and without a new spending agreement, the federal government faces a shutdown. This deadline sets the stage for an intense few weeks of negotiations between the parties. The current funding is based on a stopgap measure approved back in March, highlighting the recurring nature of these fiscal cliffs. A failure to reach a deal would result in the furlough of hundreds of thousands of federal workers and the suspension of many non-essential government services. The legislative calendar is further complicated by a range of other issues that emerged during the recess, including debates over executive actions on federal spending cuts and the confirmation of key administration nominees. Both chambers will need to navigate these partisan minefields while racing against the clock to keep the government's lights on, promising a busy and potentially volatile start to the fall legislative session. As lawmakers grapple with the budget, the White House is signaling a major potential move on another key economic front: housing. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has revealed that the Trump administration is actively considering declaring a national housing emergency this fall. In a Labor Day interview, Bessent stated that the administration is exploring a comprehensive list of measures aimed at bolstering the housing supply and bringing down soaring costs for home buyers and renters. Among the options being studied are potential tariff exemptions on imported construction materials, a move that could lower costs for builders and developers. While the administration mulls future action on the economy, it's also highlighting the results of a recent, more direct intervention in the nation's capital. In a series of social media posts, President Donald Trump praised Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, a Democrat, for her cooperation with his administration's crime crackdown. The president credited the deployment of the National Guard with a dramatic reduction in crime, going so far as to claim the city is now a, quote, crime-free zone. While that is an exaggeration, official statistics do point to a significant downturn. Last week, Mayor Bowser confirmed that since the federal surge began, carjackings in the city have fallen by 87%, overall violent crime is down 45%, and arrests have increased by 20%. Attorney General Pam Bondi added that the operation has resulted in nearly 1,600 arrests and the seizure of 165 illegal firearms. President Trump used the D.C. statistics to draw a sharp contrast with other Democratic leaders, such as the governors of Illinois, Maryland, and California, whom he accused of justifying crime rather than working with his administration to stop it. The president has previously threatened to deploy troops to other cities facing high crime rates, and he is now framing the operation in Washington as a successful model that could be replicated elsewhere. The president's focus on key allies was also evident in another announcement made Monday. President Trump stated that he will award former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. In his announcement, the president called Giuliani the greatest mayor in the history of New York City and an equally great American patriot. The White House said details on the timing and location of the award ceremony will be released at a later date. Giuliani, who was elected mayor in 1993, was widely hailed as America's mayor for his leadership in the aftermath of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. In more recent years, his legacy has become more complex, as he served as a key legal and political advisor to President Trump, playing a central role in the challenges to the 2020 election results. The announcement of the honor comes just days after Giuliani was hospitalized following a car crash, from which he is reportedly recovering. While the president honors a key political figure from New York's past, a current fixture of New York politics has announced his intention to step aside. Democratic Congressman Jerry Nadler, who has represented parts of Manhattan for over 3 decades, has announced he will not seek re-election next year. In an interview with the New York Times, the 78-year-old lawmaker cited a need for generational change within the Democratic Party. Nadler is a towering figure in the party, having served as the chairman and ranking member of the powerful House Judiciary Committee. In that role, he was a central figure during both impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. Nadler said his decision was influenced by the events of last year's presidential campaign, when calls for then-President Joe Biden to withdraw from the race intensified after a poor debate performance, sparking a wider conversation within the party about age and leadership. Nadler stated his belief that a younger individual can maybe do better for his district and the party. He did not endorse a successor, but acknowledged that many of his allies would likely enter the race for his highly sought-after congressional seat, setting the stage for a competitive Democratic primary in 2026. His retirement marks the end of an era and a significant moment in the ongoing evolution of the Democratic Party's leadership.